at least those that have hair, and is a chance for us to get to know each other a little bit better without the stringent rules. So if you want to drop off, now's your chance to do so without feeling like you're leaving the meeting and and uh, letting us down because you left. Because all is good. We will see you next week. Good night, Henry. And then for those that want to stay on, we'll talk wood turning. We'll talk whatever. So thank you, everyone. Good meeting tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate this link, Martin, because it's fascinating. Because I don't, what whiskey smokers are, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we were making them. One of the guys in my club is making whiskey smokers and selling the heck out of them. And so I made a couple and I'm not a whiskey drinker or a bourbon drinker. I don't even necessarily know the difference, but I tell you, it made a marked change in the flavor of what you were drinking when you did it. And I'm fascinated by this and his process. I mean, he does a really nice job on these tumblers too. So
he does.
He's just found himself a market. He's like any other. I've always said this. You almost need to find a market to sell into before you start producing a product that you might be able to sell. And basically, what he's done is he's gone and he's found that there is a very, very lucrative sort of opportunity there to sell. I mean, how many of them will get drunk out of? I don't know. But there is definitely the distillery that is down the road from him stocks his tumblers and sells his tumblers to tourists that would think nothing of buying 70 or 80 pound bottle of whiskey and 3 or 4 tumblers to take home to their friends.
Yeah, I know people. I know people like that too. So
yeah,
I am sure they're getting used.
Cats or dogs.
Yeah.
So I'll be back. Dan? No, I'm not going anywhere. I just got to take care of my dogs.
Okay, Dan.
Okay, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to take care of the cats in about 20 minutes.
That's all right. I put you on spotlight, Martin.
Put me on spotlight.
Yeah, because you're talking about you know more about these whiskey tumblers than I do. So I don't know, but it's fascinating.
I just can't think of the chap's name.
Joe Laird. Joe Laird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through and read through his Etsy site.
And I know, like I say, I know he sells an awful lot of them. And he's made them for many, many years. But you can see how much work's gone into the presentation boxes and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very polished, and he makes a beautiful product. So yeah,
all about the presentation.
If you do a bit more research, you might be able to find, get down to his website, see if he's got any videos on there. The reason I looked him up was because Dane had said if I can find somebody who is doing that procedure correctly and worth watching, I will send you the link. And I thought, I know a man that is doing that procedure exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And he does do it exceptionally well, and he makes a really good living out of it.
Yeah, he's probably who I was thinking of. But I knew if there was somebody over there that made a living at it, or
definitely
at least had a presentation of doing them. And I didn't remember the pricing or anything like that.
But it's an interesting sort of discussion, because I in my local club's meeting in June, we have a club picnic, and we have usually we have what we call a turnathon, where 2 groups of randomly chosen people compete to turn a single project, and all kinds of shenanigans happen, like people will unplug your lathe while you're turning and things like that. So, but it's
that's
the
bullshit.
project. It is. But the project that we did this summer at the Turnathon was these whiskey barrel looking boxes, which was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, and a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So these whiskey tumblers that Joe Laird is making are not that dissimilar from the little projects that we turned. His are very, very much better, of course, but I'm fascinated because it's all sort of come together. You know, it's something that
Right,
I've
it's
seen
next.
a fair amount of recently. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're very plain and simple. There's nothing complicated or complex. And you know, sometimes you'll hear me say regularly, something is overturned. We have a certainly for new turners, and I was guilty of it very much when I first started turning. You've got a lump of wood that is 10 inches long, and you turn something that is only 8 inches long. You've got this 2 inches, and you don't want to waste it. So what you do is you put another bead in, or you put another cove in, or you just add that little bit to it, and it makes the whole thing very, very wrong. Or what happens is you're having that much fun on the lathe that you produce beads and coves and more beads and more coves and more beads and more coves when it really doesn't need it. I saw this the other day on a pepper mill or a pepper grinder,
Yes.
where the whole thing was just way
I saw it too.
overturned. There was too much of it. There was it wasn't practical, nice to hold. I'm quite sure that the turner had an awful lot of fun making it and loves it to bits. But from a sales point of view, or from a customer's point of view, it's like, what is that? What is that? I'm expecting it to do far more than to grind my salt.
Yeah. And then from the outsider perspective, you're looking, you know, that particular piece, you're looking at it and you're like, wow, that would be so uncomfortable in the hand. As a pepper mill, how am I supposed to hold it?
But
Yeah.
it comes off as tacky. I had to learn that same lesson turning finials. I love adding beads and coves to things, and finials look a lot better without so much all of that. So they look better,
No,
you know, just like the. So
you're really better off within the turning. When you're turning, you're better off making sure that you have a good shape rather than a lot of shapes.
yes,
You know, something doesn't need a lot of shapes. It can be very, very plain and very simple, to be very stylish. Whereas the one thing that really upsets me is when I see these repeat patterns where somebody's put a bead, a bead, a bead, a bead, a bead, a bead. It doesn't matter what sizes they are, but they are different size beads, and you've got this repeat, repeat, repeat. And then you've got a lead into something else, and your eye just can't go to the something else. Certainly with a finial that Dane showed tonight, when you've got a finial, for one of the rules for me is when you look at it, your eye wants to travel up. It wants to see what other parts there are to it. And that's exactly, if Dane holds his piece up, the minute you look at it, your eye is not drawn to the finial. It's not drawn to the body. It is just drawn to the whole pot. And your eye is not in one position. Whereas if you'd have put a double bead on it, your eye would have been drawn straight to that double bead, to hell with the finial and to hell with the base. So you have to be very careful of where and what you actually put into your turnings sometimes. And it's difficult you know, it is difficult to hold yourself back. I like doing it. You know, we all love turning.
Right.
well, and one of the other things that happens is if you turn a couple of beads, it shows off the character of the wood. You can see the grain. You know, the grain does interesting things on a bead. You know, so yeah, that's nice. Let's make more. You know, and so yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And I have to do the same thing myself. It's a matter of discipline when you're turning to turn a pleasing shape without too much embellishment, without too much, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, get your
Yeah,
shape
extra
right.
extra beads are for grandma's chair rungs on her rocker, you know. And maybe
Well,
not even there.
well, and again, that's where the golden ratio comes into play, is because as you're placing your details, well, there's only so much room that you can place those details, and those details have got to follow the mathematical principle, for everything to be proportional in the initial item that you're turning that's going to be flowing into the next part of the vessel. And if it doesn't match, it doesn't match. And you see it so many times, even with people that's been turning for years and years, they, and especially with finials, well, hell, especially with anything, but especially with finials, you'll, and they'll just be proud as piss about it. And you hate like hell to say anything to them about it, because it's just, there's really not a nice way to say it other than, asking, how did you come to that shape? Because the shapes and the details, they don't flow, they don't go together. It's got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
tell a
you get
story from the
well,
bottom floor to the top floor. It's got to tell a story.
yeah, and I think that the best way to go about talking to someone about that is to get them thinking about the shapes. Why did you choose to make the shape this way? Rather than, boy, that sucks, because that's never
Right.
taken well. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not perfect. I like to think that I've trained myself and my eye, and I have a favorite story I tell. I was doing a goblet in an online demo for my club, and Rebecca DeGroot was in the Zoom meeting, and she and I are friends, and we banter back and forth. And I finished the goblet, and she says, "So how does that pair up with the golden ratio?" And so I pulled out a goblet that I turned. Well, first of all, I said, "Let's go find out." And I have a pair of those
Calipers.
golden ratio calipers, and I pulled them out, and it matched perfectly. And then I pulled out a goblet that I'd made 3 months earlier, and it was nearly identical. And I hadn't planned it that way. I just sort of trained my eye to naturally, turn the golden ratio into things. But that took me a long time to get, and I've burned a bunch of older stuff that, once I figured
Right.
out what, how I wanted my shapes to look like, and what was pleasing and what wasn't, I took a look at the older stuff and said, geez, I don't want anybody to ever see this.
Yeah.
This is
So
this is one of the things that I often say, Matt, and I sometimes speak out of turn with it. We've had this conversation on my group earlier on tonight, because there was a box shown. Now, with turning is like any other sort of hobby or sport.
Any endeavor.
Yeah, there is. I know people who ride horses, and some of them have what's called a natural saddle. They just get on a horse and they can ride it with ease. There is footballers that don't have to practice. There is snooker players that don't have to practice because they can just go out and they can win tournaments. Then there is the guys that need to work hard at it. They're very good, but they have to work hard at it. And then there's others that just enjoy it. They're not bloody good at it, but they really do enjoy it. So the hobby of wood turning is for everybody. But ultimately, if you haven't got that eye to be able to see that golden ratio, you've got to work at it. And that's why I suggest to people drawing it, thinking about what you're going to create before you go to the lathe to create it. And sometimes, especially on Facebook, there is ways of trying to explain to somebody. If somebody doesn't want to learn, then there's nothing you can do about it. But there is ways that you can sort of explain to somebody, and when they throw it back in your face, but I like it, then you totally understand that you're not going to be able to teach them anything. But by blowing smoke up people's arse, it doesn't help.
It's just
when somebody has created something that is so bloody awful, and you've got 40 or 50 people saying that's lovely, that's wonderful, how is he going to ever get better?
Right.
He's
That's
never
one
going
of
to
it's
get better.
it's one of the discussions I have with myself about folks who get into wood turning as a hobby and jump immediately into segmenting without learning good shapes or forms. And,
I
and
Even
you
with
know, you got
segmenting, you're still stuck with the basic blocky, out of
Yeah,
proportion vessel. There's
yeah, but
there's
and,
only
and you
there's
hate
only a couple people I know that actually make a properly shaped segmented form. That's Ray Davis, and then that Tumas guy. Beyond that,
well, I know some folks who are very good at it, and but they worked at it. And my point is that if you know you hate to see somebody spend a month and a half putting together a segmented piece and turn a dog bull,
right,
you know,
exactly.
and you know you'd like somebody to and yeah, I'm with you, Martin. How do you tell somebody that? And one of my favorite,
it's very difficult, Matt,
yeah,
because ultimately, like I said, you potentially could come across somebody that instantly says, "But I like it, and I wanted that shape." And normally, when I get that response, I just kind of walk away and I say, "Well, you know, then
yep,
it's good. If you
yep,
think it's good, and you know, at the end of the day, it is. You can't tell Banksy that his painting on the wall is crap." Because the
that's
majority of
right.
people like it.
Right.
Yes, it's on the wall, but you know, it's very difficult to find that line. And really, if people want help, they'll normally come looking for it. And unfortunately, some of them people come looking at the likes of Facebook. And unfortunately, on Facebook, you are going to get 40 people that say, "I really like that," because nobody else
Right.
will jump and say, "Well, actually, are you happy with it?" Because 9 times out
Right.
of 10, they're going to say, "Well, if I did it again, I'd do it differently." Or, "Well, I might have changed this, or I might have changed that." So half the time, they can see it themselves, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or they know something's off, and they
Yeah.
don't know what it is, and they don't know how to identify it. And
No.
that is absolutely one of my favorite questions is are you happy with it? I
Yeah.
One of my wood turners in my club is relatively new, and he's very self-critical. So that was a question that I always asked him. You know, are you happy with it? And I did that for a year, and he would bring up a piece to me, and he'd show it to me, and he'd say, "I am happy with it, not really." It's like, you know, I wouldn't even ask it because he knew I was going to ask. So, but
Yeah. It's
he had it, and he was an art collector, so he collected glass and some other things. So I knew that he knew, you know, he had the eye. He knew that something was a little off. So I got him looking at it critically
Hmm.
that way. And that's an excellent way to do it, I think.
yeah.
Well, and the other
I
problem
mean,
with Facebook,
what I did with my group, um, I did a little bit of a survey, and what I did was I took 10 candlesticks, just 10 pictures of candlesticks, and I put them all together. And on my Wednesday night, I showed them um, 10 pictures of candlesticks and asked them to pick out the one that they were instantly drawn to. And if they wanted a candlestick, which one would they buy? And we did just a little survey. Now, none of them candlesticks were wrong, but out of 34 people on screen, 32 of them picked the same candlestick.
So the next question is then why did you like this one? Why did you pick this one?
Because it was a very traditional shape.
Got it.
It was a very traditional shape. There was very modern shapes, but they were all candlesticks. And I can't stand back and say any of them were wrong because
right.
I selected them from around the net, only in black and white pictures. So they were just forms rather than decorative
Finish.
items. They were black and white. But it was an interesting project.
I bet it was. And they all picked the traditional.
They all picked a very, very traditional shape.
So how did you what did you conclude from that? That everybody's used to seeing that traditional shape on everybody's mantles, and that's what they picked? Or
It was more aesthetic to the eye.
Yeah,
because I remember that.
I just wanted to prove almost that for all there is no wrong or right in wood turning, there is a right.
There are some things that are more right than others.
Yes. Yeah.
The one just looked better than the other examples.
Well, it's interesting,
Like
you know,
like he was saying, there was nothing wrong with the others, but the one that was picked, the one that the majority selected, was the one that was more appeasing to the eyes. It just followed the ratio. It wasn't busy.
Okay, I got a
that's
question
that's
for you.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
If you go 1/3, 2/3,
That's
and
the
use
lazy
that
way.
as- Huh?
It's the lazy way. That's what old timers use because it's the lazy
Yeah.
way. Sorry.
and then they got 3/4, 1/4.
It's noticeable. The difference is noticeable. And I'll show you.
Yeah, it's way off.
Well, I know it's noticeable, but
So I'll show you right now.
geography,
With two
neither
pieces.
one of them are wrong.
Well, no, because quarters is now in 4 sections. And thirds is in 3 sections.
So
And
let
the
me
golden
show you.
ratio is just based on a calculation for the changes in the details from height and diameter based on where you're starting at and ending at.
Got these two pieces, nearly identical shapes. I mean, apart from the decorations, right?
Yep.
So this one is golden ratio. This one is closer to 1/4, 2/4, 3/4.
Quarters
This
or
is a more
thirds?
this one here is closer to thirds, and this one is closer to quarters.
Okay.
So this one here, the shape is slightly more pleasing than this shape.
Yes, it is.
And it's the difference between the golden ratio, how much closer it is to the golden ratio. And you know, this other, let me put myself back on here.
You are.
Light. This one here, there's very little wrong with this. It's a decent shape. But this one here is just ever so slightly better because it's closer. It's nearly perfectly on the golden ratio. So, and I didn't measure either one of them before I did it, but I was, you know, I was looking at them and I saw that, you know. Anyway, and that's the difference, Stan, is that golden ratio is just simply more pleasing.
Nature is set up with the golden ratio. Your face is set up with the golden ratio. The overall dimensions of your face, it is all perfect. 1.618, blah, 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 blah. From where your mouth sits on the overall direction to your nose, to your eyes, the bridge of your nose to the eyes, and from the eyes to the forehead to the overall shape, length of the head. It all follows the golden ratio. Everything in nature is set up by the golden ratio.
Yep, the way things grow, the fruits we eat, the plants we see, a pineapple, you know, all this. That's the way things grow. Acorns and
who figured out this golden ratio, and what
the
exactly
Greeks.
is?
The
The
ratio
Greeks.
is 1 to 1.618. That's the golden ratio, which is very close to 1/3, 2/3.
All right, I got to go in and take care of the cat, but I'll be listening to you.
All right.
1/3 to
So this piece here, okay.
Real quick,
Let me.
'cause I can't talk while I'm on the inside. So can you explain to him, or I can do it when I come back? If you take your shape and you multiply it or divide it by 1.68, That's how you
1.618.
get
Yeah.
your dimensions.
Yeah.
For the golden ratio. You know, and just leave it at the golden ratio. Leave the thirds out because that's the old timer way, because it's close, but it's
an approximation. Yes.
right. It's an approximation. Stick with the golden ratio and explain. If it's 3.5 inches, and you're looking at your finial, the finial is either going to be the 3.5 divided by 1.62, which is going to be a shorter finial, or it's going to be a longer finial because you're going to take that 3.5 and multiply it by the 1.618, and then carry on, explaining that to Dan from the big dimensions to the profile dimensions and details that you put in on something, to the bottom diameter to the top diameter of your vessel. Hopefully I'll be back out here in time.
Okay.
I got to meet myself because the wife's got the TV on. Yeah.
Yeah,
As you know,
not-
Matt, I'm very passionate about it. I hate seeing ugly forms, and I just want people to start making better forms. You know what I mean?
Well, it helps all of us. Yeah, I'm passionate about it too, Dane, and I trained myself. So, yeah. So this piece here, the golden ratio for this piece that I would be looking at is this distance versus this distance. The width versus the height, but it's also this distance here too. So for instance, the reason why this one doesn't quite work as well is because this distance is taller compared to this distance, and this distance is shorter. It's narrower here. So if I'm to measure, this is like 5 inches. So that's the 1.618 part of the ratio, and this is like 4 inches, and I'd have to bounce it here to check it.
Well, let me show you something. Just a second. I'll be right back. I got to grab it.
Okay. And I'll hunt through my pictures to find that other picture I was talking about earlier. But yeah, yeah, thank you, Gary. There is a difference. I'm not throwing either one in the trash either.
Right.
Yeah, but Dana's right. When we get the forms right, then
So is this closer to the golden ratio?
that's close to half.
Yeah, that's close to half.
Yeah.
The one that one is close to 50%, 50%. So
Right.
it's not golden ratio.
Right. But I got a lid that I'm going to be shaping to go on top of it.
But I'm looking at where that dividing line is in the middle.
Right.
So
here.
I want, yeah, that dividing line would need to be higher, taller
Up here.
to meet the golden ratio.
Matt, if I may interact something into this,
Yeah, who's
I have
talking?
my golden means measuring whatever you call the
Calipers.
thing.
Calipers.
Yeah, well, it's the one with the 3 legs.
Right.
It's on a
Calipers.
magnet,
who
and
makes
it's
them
right
calipers?
on my leg, where
Okay.
while I'm turning, I can pull it and measure
Who
everything
makes
that
them
I'm doing.
calipers?
You can make them yourself
Yeah, but who?
Yes.
just by
There's
measuring.
somebody, there's one of the turners that has just brought some out, and I'm not sure whether it's an English guy.
I don't know. I haven't seen them. I know that you can buy them, that they make them for the facial
No,
industry, the beauty.
The guy that I'm thinking of, I'm not sure if he's a Brit that has moved to America. He's well known. He's a well-known turner. He does remote demos, and he has his own studio, and he has his own place. And he is a very, very well-known turner. I just can't remember his bloody name.
Yeah, I
I
can't
get
either.
his emails. He sends me emails about once a month from various tools that he sells, because he does tools and all of that sort of stuff. I just can't think of his name, but if his
Are you
name
talking
does
about
come,
Nick Agar, maybe?
I don't know. I know that there are people on Etsy that are
Bosch.
3D printing them.
Yeah,
Thank you for that, because the man I was thinking of has just come there. It's Trent Bosch. If I can find,
Trent.
I
Okay.
think that's who I'm
Oh yeah,
referring
yeah.
to.
Here they are. Here they are. I got them. Yep. Trent Bosch
found
tools,
Trent
Golden Mean
Bosch.
calipers.
Right. Trent Bosch sent me an email with a link to a video where he explains what his calipers are for, why he uses them, and a full description of the whole idea of it, which would massively help. I can't remember your name now, but you were asking the question.
His name is Dan, right, Dan?
Dan, yes.
So there's a link. There's a link to Trent Bosch's Golden Mean calipers.
Right. Well, if you can find the video that Trent Bosch did, he will explain all about that.
Yeah, he's got the videos on that page.
Now, for me, Dan, if you pick that pot back up, you know the one that you've just shown.
Just a second.
Because
Okay.
I am
That's-
definitely not saying, rush out and buy yourself some calipers. But what I am saying is, when you look at that pot, when you just sit it on the shelf and you look at that pot, your eye is instantly drawn to that middle line.
Right.
It's smack bang in the middle. Your eyes aren't going anywhere else, so it doesn't matter what is on it or where it is. Your eyes are going straight to that line in the center.
Yep. Now with
And
this
by
one,
moving that line up or down, your eyes would want to
Ratio
follow it.
calibers for $14.
now this one is more up this way,
Yeah. So where's your eyes going to?
right here. Correct.
So you've already kind of worked it out.
And then I've got this one that I did, and my eyes kind of go right here
Yes.
where that curve starts.
But that's a better curve.
Hold it that way.
That is a better curve than your first pot.
And it's in a better place.
But you've broken my rule of repeat.
Oh, with these
Yes, with these.
Right. Too much what do you call it?
Too much of the same texture.
Right. Because I had one texture here and a different texture up here, and I was just framing them in.
Yeah. And your frames are, you see, for me, looking at it, your frames are there, your textures not, because I can't see your textures, I can see your frames. And what I can see is 4 frames.
Yep.
I can see four very straight lines around the box.
Yep.
And
So
like I said,
it might have worked better. It might have worked better with just one of those bands of texture right at that high, the widest point. You know what I mean?
Up here or down here.
I'd put it between the two, the middle
But
one.
again, you see, you're
here.
into a situation of what you've probably done there is had an awful lot of fun making it.
A what?
I said you've had an awful lot of fun making it, and that's why you've been trying to use your textures. You've been trying to, enjoy your lathe. Whereas what you should have done was put one texture on that one, then turn yourself another pot and put a texture on the next pot, rather than trying to put too much into one.
Yep. Because I didn't know if I wanted to, like with this one, just the top, put a bead on it, but then I said no, because I'm gonna put golden leaf in between these two.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna glue some string in the grooves here.
Yeah.
And I think that'll set this off.
Experiment.
That's what these are basically, you know, and I'll give them to my granddaughter for a Christmas gift. But yeah, I was just wondering this golden rule and what was
I'm
that guy?
back.
What was that guy's name that has a video on that?
I think
Trent
Trent
Bosch.
Bosch. We put them
Yeah,
in.
Trent Bosch.
We put them in. The
Okay.
link is in the chat for that.
Okay, let me
Yeah. So I get my they cost a little bit more. And I got to get me another set because somebody lifted them from me a few months ago. But I get mine. They cost a little bit more, but I get mine from a guy in New Zealand that makes them out of stainless, and he makes a nice box, and he laser and etches whatever in the hell you want on it, you know, for yourself. It's very professional, and it's 1.5 millimeter stainless. Real nice, smooth working set. I'll pull up the email later and send the address to most of y'all here that I have.
okay, send it to me in a text or something.
Yep, I will.
So let me show this picture really quick.
Watch that video.
Damn it, Matt, you've shown enough.
No.
What?
So
What's
here's the picture. I was doing the demo and I turned the goblet on the left, and Rebecca DeGroot said, "How is that golden ratio?" So I got out my golden ratio calipers and I showed her that it is precisely on the golden ratio. And then the natural edge goblet on the right was one I turned like 3 months before that, and it was nearly on the same identical proportions.
So Matt, on your goblet there, for your goblet opening and your goblet base, how does that match up for golden ratio?
The opening, the top and the bottom are the exact same size.
Right. So yeah, so that neither one follow the ratio.
Well, but they don't. I don't need them to, because this from the side.
So that's a thought.
It's meeting
So
the
that's a
golden
thought. Try
ratio.
Top to bottom, it does. On the major points, it meets the golden ratio for the, you know, for the cup to the base.
Yep.
It meets the golden ratio. Now, how, and this is what I go through when I'm turning and I'm going through the various details. How does the spindle, what you're going to
Match
hold
the
on to
face?
on your cup, does that match the ratio of that detail between the base and the cup? You know, so all the details should follow as well.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close.
But I would point out.
I'll agree. It is pretty close. Yeah. But
I would also point out one other thing here, Dane, is that with both of these cups, that the golden ratio of the bit below the cup is the same as the diameter also. So the distance from the height of the bowl alone, i.e. the top section, is the same across the diameter. Can you guys see my mouse?
yeah.
This distance here is the same as this distance here.
Yep.
So that set that those golden golden ratio calipers that I showed there are in this set from Amazon. There's 2 other items in there. You can there's easy plans online. You just take a couple of strips of wood. You can make golden ratio calipers very easily too.
Right.
So
We got
if you want to
plans
make
on
some,
our on our Wide Woodturners website.
Yes.
yeah,
We do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. And I made one like about half again that size. Dane, mine is like I made a much bigger one. It's like if I'm turning a big vase, I want to be able to measure the damn thing.
Well,
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I think 12-inch vessel.
There you go.
But yeah, but that's what I did. I took plans online and made my own. God damn, I'm getting blown up in Messenger. Holy shit.
I taught a 1-day beginners class about a month or so ago, and they were all they decided what they want to turn. They all wanted to learn to turn bowls, so we decided to do some small bowls. And I told them before we're going to start, we're going to sketch off, handed them paper and pencil, and we're going to sketch off what we're doing. And then we're going to check our dimensions first. And we went through the golden means, the whole shooting match, and then they taped their picture to their leg and then started turning. The majority of them got close to what they had drawn, but every one of them said, "Oh, this is a lot better than what I would have done if I'd just started turning."
But as
Because
they were turning, were
they
they
looked
stopping
at
and
their
measuring
dimensions
each profile as they were going along?
Yeah, but some of them had a catch here and there, so they had to make a few changes.
Yeah.
It 3 out of the 6, that was their very first bowl to ever turn.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we
it's
were
good that
adding
you're
a few
instilling
little
it early.
we were adding a few little odds and ends to it.
Damn.
Hey Dane, you'll like this one. When we had the classes for the hats, the very first item that one of our students in the hat class turned was a hat. He'd
Wow.
never turned a
Ambitious.
spindle or a bowl or anything. He turned a hat to 1/8 of an inch.
No shit.
Now we had to hold his hand a little bit, but he went home with a hat that he basically turned.
Outstanding.
I want to. Can I white? I'm going to see if this works, guys.
But that goes back to what I was saying, Dane. You know, some people, they don't even need to use calipers. They've just got an eye for it.
True.
Oh yeah.
And you know, other people. I've had people in my workshop that I've, you know, given a lesson to, and it's hard work for them and it's hard work for me. But ultimately they want to turn. So they've managed to get out of my workshop, and you just know that when they get to theirs, whatever they're making is going to be hard work, but they enjoy doing it. And then there's other people that just come and they absolutely dance behind the lathe. It's almost like they've had a lathe tool in the hand for years.
Yeah.
And you're always going to get that. Now, some people can use a lathe tool and make the wood work, but they still can't see the ratios, and that's why the likes of the calipers help a lot of people.
Right.
Because it will go with their shapes.
Yep. So I draw it out. I don't use graph paper. I freehand draw the basic shape. It is by no means what it looks like when it's turned. I'll do the math calculations, and then I can see it in the piece. I can see it as I'm turning. And I'll stop measure. You know, sometimes it would be over, sometimes it would be under. You know, like you hear me say, you know, I've made 10, 15 finials for this project. And they probably all would have worked. But for me, it wasn't that. And like I said, you know, to a point, I didn't even like that initially.
So how did you get there, Dane? Was your eye always that exacting, or did you have to train it? Did you have to
I trained it over the years because I would turn something and I'd look at it and be like, why? I would be critical of myself because, you know, I do a bowl the base to the opening just didn't work. It was thick, it was heavy, and I'm like, damn it, these don't feel like bowls I picked up in gift shops in the past, 20, 25 years before I started turning. Or looked like the item, to turn wood items, that I saw, and I spent so many of my formative years overseas in Europe, and I was in all these handcrafted shops and these wood turn shops, where I would see these pieces. Of course, unfortunately, at that time I didn't turn wood. I was still a flat worker, but wood is wood. I love wood, and what comes of it. And I knew as I was making these forms, I'm like, damn, it just doesn't. I'm done. I'm happy with it at the initial onset, finishing it. And by the time I'm done finishing, I'm like, fuck, got all this wood on here. Why'd I leave all this wood? Well, I know why I left wood. That grain was so pretty. Or at least that's what I told myself back then. Now nope, it's got to come off. I don't care. It's got to fit those dimensions.
Yeah,
Base.
and I know that when we all start off, most of us don't necessarily know what we're looking at or know what we're feeling.
Exactly. Back then, you don't know what you're looking. I knew what I've touched and felt in the past compared to what I was generating. I'm like, damn it, how do I get there? Well, leave it on the damn lathe and keep turning. That's how you get there.
Yep.
And then
And if you run out of wood,
and then
another face up there and go again.
And then social media. Well, let's see. With clubs, you start going to clubs. I didn't go to clubs, but you go to clubs, and you hear all the demonstrators, and the hecklers. Oh, that last cut. Oh, that one last cut. You're gonna get a catch. Well, damn it! If you're turning with the proper tool present, every time I demo, I talk about whether I'm doing a hogging cut to remove stock, or I'm doing a finishing cut, a nice cut. I consider whatever that cut is a last cut because I'm presenting the tool correctly. I'm letting the tool cut.
I'm following the contours without flat spots.
Exactly. And if you follow that all the way through for that last cut that you got to do, you shouldn't have any paranoia in your head about, oh my God, I'm going to get a catch. Well, the only reason why you're going to get a catch is because you didn't follow the damn principles.
Well, and I teach a lot of beginners, and one of my lines is when somebody gets a catch, they are asking, why did this happen? And I can look at the cut and see where the catch is in the wood and say,
sure,
this is why it happened. Yep.
Right.
And we know that now, but I also say that a catch is always a tool presentation problem, or almost always a tool presentation problem. You turn the edge of the blade into the wood without bevel support or whatever you did.
Yeah.
And you can
final cut.
Yeah, and you can diagnose it. Yeah, you can get it with the first cut, and you can diagnose it from the mark that the tool left in the wood. And
right.
So one of the things that I work on is let's get the bevel rubbing cut down. Let's pay attention to the curves so we don't end up with a dog bull.
Tool handle position.
Yep. And a light touch, because if you're pushing too hard and the tool's not sharp, you're going to make a mistake.
If you're working spindle orientation, get rid of those long ass handles, because you cannot maneuver a long handle all the way out here in front of you. You just can't. You can't make that turn. 10-inch handle max.
I teach the dance too. The wood turning dance.
Do the dance, sure.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, part of that dance is coming inside. You don't need to have that long handle out here to where you got to manipulate your body to do it. That's why they make short handles.
Yeah, or tuck it under. Only hold the bottom half of the handle. Tuck it under your armpit or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you make your own handles, to benefit your turning style. But if people would stop, and primarily it's the old timers. Oh, that last cut. Oh.
Well, people project their own fears onto other folks,
right?
And it's
and it's wrong,
Well, yeah,
it puts,
and it's
it puts a stigma into that new kid or that new girl that's turning. Oh crap, this is gonna be my last cut. And everybody says, "Oh, you got to watch out for your last cut because that's where you're always going to get your catch." Proper tool presentation, following the form walls, the vessel walls. You do it correctly. It's just like
you don't
the
have
first
to.
cut.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. You're absolutely right. And that's part of that is training your muscle memory. And somebody who's just starting off, they don't have muscle memory. They've got to
Right.
learn the proper forms to follow. So, and I try not to teach the skew right off to beginners because I make it look easy because I've trained muscle memory for years to make it look
I
easy.
always teach the skew is the first tool I teach.
Well,
Because
usually
they don't have any.
usually is,
But one, they don't have any bad habits.
You brave.
So now they're learning ABC. They're learning they are forced to do proper presentation because if they break that presentation rule, they get the immediate reaction. And that immediate reaction is the least violent action of getting a catch, as opposed to a bowl gouge or a spindle gouge, where you're going to blow something up.
right. Yep.
Well, I'll
Fair
tell
enough.
you, I was trying a new cut that one Richard Rafton uses a lot, and it's on end grain, and you kind of
Yeah, we know it.
go into it, and I got such a catch on that. After I started doing it right, all of a sudden I got this big catch, and it ripped the bowl right out of the chuck.
Do you know why you got the catch?
Yeah, I went too far forward and had the gouge open.
Yep.
I will be asking for a sound check in a couple minutes here.
All right.
Switching out earbuds from my phone.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm with you too, Dane. And every cut, if you practice presentation in every cut, then you're training muscle memory. So if you're paying attention to the form and practicing your cut, even though it's not, you've got another inch of wood to remove, you're still ingraining that muscle memory and ingraining that cut, and you're training yourself to make the cut right. So.
Especially
Yep.
new turners need to understand that all their cuts need to be their last cut.
Exactly.
You never know when the last cut's coming until you've done it, because then you've got a clean cut all the way through, and you're ready. And that's when you say, "Enough's enough. Stop."
Right. When's your last cut?
Yep.
When you're done.
Don't turn anymore. If you're done,
Right.
you're done. You got a nice clean cut. Stop right there. Be
Yep.
happy with what you've got.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah, I don't need anything fancy from a beginner. I just need a bowl that holds stuff,
Right.
Well, that's just like with
This is
using the
sorry. This is a little bit unfair, Matt. But I've just pulled a couple of images off the net just on candlesticks. I can't put them all together, but literally all as I've done is I've just taken a selection of candlesticks on the net. And like I said,
I like those. The second one, the white one's a lot better than the wood ones.
Yeah, the wood ones are. Yeah, I wouldn't buy them
I wouldn't buy them either.
or them or
Oh,
that.
no.
Or that.
That's somebody who had too much fun making beads. Now that is a classic
Yeah, right.
shape.
Now they were close. They were close.
That's better.
Now
There's-
that's a
and
nice
there's-
looking
that's one I
candlestick
would
right
buy.
there.
That's one I would buy.
and like I say, it's a little bit unfair because I've had to sort of just select what I can see just online at the moment.
That's fine, Martin.
But that is just exactly what I did with my group on a Wednesday night, but I just put them all as black and white silhouettes and asked them which one is your eye drawn to and which one would you buy if you wanted a candlestick. That is a collection of candlesticks over the last 5 minutes that I've selected off the internet, and all of you have just looked at them and said, no, 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 right.
Yep.
Yeah. Brett, spot on.
So
Well, it's kind of interesting too. If you look at the
argument is
shapes,
blown out the water of there is no right or wrong in wood turning. Well, there is no right or wrong in wood turning if you are making stuff for yourself. There is definitely right and wrong in wood turning if you are making stuff for other people.
To sell. You're right.
Because what
Yep.
you're trying to achieve when you are
100%.
selling products, and I've sold products for the last 10 years, but what you're trying to achieve is the best product for a wider audience. So your one product that you love to bits, and yes, somebody somewhere will like it and will buy it, but that one person, certainly in England, out of 66 million people, might take a bit of finding.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to achieve is you want to make an item that will appeal to 500,000 people, 1 million people, 2 million people, because that product will sell a damn sight quicker than the one that will appeal to one person.
Right.
So
Any
there
chance
is a
you-
right and wrong if you're
Martin,
selling.
can you find that pepper mill?
I have actually. I could easily find the pepper mill because I have actually got it installed. I was that
Show this pepper.
upset about it more than anything else.
I know
because
we both commented on it.
this
well,
guy.
one of the things I find educational about the candlestick discussion is how similar that discussion is to a finial discussion. So
Yes.
the types of finials that appeal, and I consider somebody like Cindy Drozda to be exceptional in their finial shapes. Okay. And the finial that you've got there, Dane, is excellent as well. But the same sort of shapes that appeal on a finial, you add a little flat platform on the top of it, and you've got an appealing candlestick. And the same sorts of concepts that appeal in a good finial also appeal in a good candlestick.
Yeah. It tells a story.
Yep. And less is more, and cleaner lines work better. And I mean, I had like I said, I had to learn that lesson with finials, because when I first started making finials, I had too many beads on the things, and they were clunky looking.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, somebody showed off a set of finials they'd made it. I can't remember who it was, and they were just proud as piss of it. And everybody, great job, great job, great job. And it was the meeting that I wasn't. Yeah, so it was a couple weeks ago. It was one that I watched back, and I'm like, oh my God, why is nobody asking him? God, who was it? Anyhow, the shapes just, there was no rhyme or reason, nothing melded together.
It was PD.
Well,
Is
the
that
short,
what
the
it
short,
was?
Dane, the reason
Okay.
why Dane, the reason why people don't ask is because you're trying to also not be offended, unless somebody says, "I'd like to know why these are clunky," or "I'd like help with
No,
this."
I hear that, but so you'll hear me ask on it, and I coined the expression from how Martin goes about it, is how did you pick that shit? Why did you stop there? Why do you have those two shapes together like that? That would have been my comments on it. Similar tonight, with the gentleman that showed the natural edge bowl. He had a nice natural edge bowl going, but he stopped turning, and it just went straight down and then straight across.
The sides were way too straight. I completely agree.
And he had plenty of material left, regardless, you got a quarter, hey, I use less, quarter inch or less tenon, and there's God's plenty of material to be able to go in there and take care of that. Or worst case scenario, you flip it around, put it on your jam chuck, and you finish reshaping that bottom. So that's why I said what I did say about why did you stop at that shape, to get him to thinking, because if memory serves, he's a relatively new turner. I can't remember who it was.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Um,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I think, those of us that have been doing it for a while and doing it with a cognition mindset of what a form should look like, I think we should be challenging our members by asking them questions like that, where we're not critiquing them, but we're asking them, why did they stop or why did they do those shakes? Like, Matt, why did you do all those beads? Because you could, obviously.
These are my early. These are some of my
And
early
toes.
finials.
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, you got a finial, and
Oh
you've
man,
got,
if those are early finials, dang,
you got
you ought to see
got
mine.
multiple-
They're
Well,
terrible.
this
you got
one
multiple
over
finials
here
in one finial.
was fun. This one here was fun. Okay, because it's like 7 inches long or something like that. This one here is a lot closer to ideal than most of the rest of
Yes.
them. So, but yeah, these are just, some of these are just so stupid and clunky that it's like, why did they even do this? I'm sure some of them were in the fire, but I wanted to share that with you. I'm sorry, Dayton.
No worries. But like I was saying,
Yeah.
even with your finials there, within your finial, you could have stopped. Okay, there's a finial.
There it
And
is.
then
Oh
you
my God.
stop down there. There's another. Yep, there it is. I mean, that's just a bad looking dildo.
Hey, you got that right.
I mean, it's
Well-
just a horribly made dildo.
Well, and he used an expensive wood too.
Well, on top of that, what do you use?
See, my
I don't even
my
remember.
problem my problem with that post is saying it's my son's 41st birthday in a couple of days, and he's asked me to make him a pepper mill. I've blocked him from seeing the post. I made this out of exotic wood. What do you think? I want it to be perfect, so don't be afraid to say something. It's just shy of 12 inches.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great job. Extremely cool. Well
Beautiful.
What'd you
done.
finish it with?
Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
If he doesn't like
Horrible.
it, send it to me. It's beautiful. Very nice. Having made out of a dozen of these,
Perfect
it's safe to
Outstanding
say.
piece of work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now go down to my
That's a
comment where I
perfect
say
view.
remake it. I think
That's
that's what I said.
horrible.
If he didn't delete it.
Looks like a dick.
It does. It looks like a dildo. I mean, poorly
Okay.
fashioned dildo.
It's ribbed for her pleasure.
Yeah,
Is the sun changing?
That's what
just
I'm
Maybe it,
thinking.
I think it's
What
up
do you
on.
want
I
to
think
do?
it's up on top on one of those expanded.
Horrible.
Expand it down. Oh, you got top comments only. Do all. There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
Then you'll have to, because I remember commenting on it, and if memory serves, I said to remake it. Expand that one that says one reply.
crazy.
So the various replies you need to expand them up, back up, right there. Expand that. Nope. All right. So each one of the, if there's one that needs to be expanded, expand it.
If it's multiple.
Right. Because I know I said you need to remake that, something along those lines.
I didn't even see it on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So he fucking deleted it.
What the hell is
yeah.
that?
So he
Yeah.
may have deleted the comment. Okay.
Well, in fairness, what I did. Let me just. Are you still there? Yeah, you're still there.
Yeah, you're there.
I was a little bit more diplomatic, and I sent him a private email, but he hasn't responded to me. Just to sort of say to him, you know, absolutely fabulous attempt, but I think it's overturned. And I sent him some peppermills for him to try and copy. Now, he hasn't come back to me. He could have come back to me and said, who the fuck are you? I don't need to listen to this. I don't think the guy would be like that. I normally give most people the benefit of the doubt. But had I got a response like that, then I would have just blocked it and moved on. But when I see a post like that, I think it's necessary because somebody is genuinely asking for help. And unless somebody says something to them, they will never know. They will never know.
No.
So I told him to remake it and the reasons why.
Yes. Well, it may well be now that 40 other people have said that it's absolutely fabulous and wonderful. So when somebody comes along and says, no, it's not,
Yeah, exactly.
they're going to question the man that says, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to, who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And while everybody commenting is beautiful, doesn't have a fucking clue.
No, it's not. And I think sometimes, I mean, they do always say that if you've got nothing good to say, don't say anything. So maybe that's an opportunity for most people just to sit back and shut the fuck up because it's not good.
Well, it's like I said many a times, I said, if you see something that would make my turning look better, let me know. I'm not going to take an offensive to it.
Right. And that's what I try to do, Dan.
He didn't even leave any time to do a major remake either. So, you know, there's like, you know, the birthday is in like a week. You know, he doesn't have time to recut that. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, if he'd returned my private message, I'd have posted one out for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. I mean, he did literally ask for help with it. So, and he said he wanted it to be perfect. So I don't know. What are you going to do? You know, if somebody asks, then I'll tell them exactly what if somebody says, what would you do? Then I tell them exactly what I would do. Are you sure you want to know? Here's what I would do.
There, Matt. The birthday is in a week's time. He doesn't have time to turn it all, but what he does have time is to remount that and turn it all off. Because if he'd have turned all them beads and coves off, he'd have a great shape.
Yeah, if he flattened it, and he's got enough wood there, he could flatten.
He's got enough wood there, just flatten the whole off.
Yeah, and I mean, he could do. Let me see if I could.
You'd have time to do it. It's a week.
Yeah, and I mean something that I would consider. I would consider good would be something like this. You know, that's what I would see. That's what I would look for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's going to. Having seen what he did make, that's not an option.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but you could flatten a lot of those beads out.
And
you can flatten a lot of those beads.
Like a piece of junk.
Yeah, you have to try. You have to try and stay within the capabilities of potentially a new turner.
And put a contour in or something like that. So yeah.
For me, all as he would have had to do is skim that off and just leave it as, you know, if I dare say that if I type in peppermill.
Hey Dan, I put that link for the Golden Mean calipers in there for you.
What's that?
I put the link for the Golden Mean calipers where I get them from.
Okay, what, on chat or?
Yeah, here in the chat.
Okay, let me do a screenshot.
And you get there are two other links to Golden.
Sometimes simpler is better because a lot of people try to embellish.
Let me dive in and do a screen share first, because all as I've done there is literally pushed Google peppermill. And if you start looking at what is available on peppermills, there is nothing at all like what he's turned. And this is why I find it bizarre that somebody goes out of their way to turn something like that when there is 100 pictures of very, very straight or curved peppermills.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact, has he ever gone out to a restaurant and seen true pepper mills used?
Well, that's right.
Or held one, you know, and put it on his Alfredo? Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
I mean,
I hate making pepper mills.
Yeah, me too.
I
Well,
do
there
not
we are.
make.
We could probably find one or two.
Oh, there we
Alright.
go. Yeah, that's a
Maybe
that's a
it'll be-
pseudo. Yeah, that's a giant butt plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole bunch
I
of
wonder if it
energy.
vibrates.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh shit.
Sweet.
Well, fellas, it's way past my bedtime. This has been a fascinating discussion. Thank you for all the
Oh,
input. I
Matt,
appreciate
we'll
it.
see you
Appreciate it,
next
Matt.
week.
Sure.
Yep, I'm
Talk
gonna
to you later,
go to
buddy.
bed before I face plant on the keyboard. So
Yeah, you want to go to bed with those memories of butt plugs in your thoughts. So good
I,
night,
yeah,
buddy.
there you go.
I think he's sitting there saying it's way past his bedtime when I'm sat here at 4:15.
Yeah, I don't know
Right,
how you
you're-
do it,
you're just-
Martin. I
you're
you
just
know,
waiting for the
I
sun to
figure
come up.
you got some really good drugs. That's the only possible explanation.
The
Well,
coffee.
Martin, we can all see the sun's coming up in through the shears
Oh, yeah.
behind you.
I just can't do it anymore, you guys. I just can't.
It's all good, Matt.
All right. Well,
Staying
thanks a
power,
lot.
brother.
Have a great night, everyone.
Yep. You have a
All
good
right,
night,
you
man.
too.
Good
Thanks
night,
for all
Matt.
the help.
Hey, Dane, highlight me for a minute, if you would.
Yeah. I will
Cool.
try. God damn it. There's always the wrong one up there. Got to do it the hard way.
There he is. I found him, Dane.
You got him? Okay, thanks.
Okay. Now this right here, the only reason I made this was I was practicing my
Okay.
cuts. Okay.
Beats and toes.
Nothing
And
wrong with that.
I didn't want to throw it away.
That is
'Cause this
very,
is-
very different because if you are practicing beads and coves, you have got a purpose. You're not making an object.
Right.
So
Yep.
what you're holding is not an object. It's not a piece of work. It is effectively a sketch pad.
Yeah. Or a skill
It's not-
build.
Nothing wrong with that. It looks good.
But-
It's not a painting.
I didn't want to throw it away, so I had drilled a hole up in it, and I needed a handle for my mini lathe extension, and this just worked perfect.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, now
All
you've
right.
tight.
Oh, now it has a purpose.
Yep. Now it has a
Now
purpose.
it looks like dog shit because it's got purpose. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's a good way to repurpose it. But no, there's nothing wrong with that because that's what you were doing. You were practicing making a spear, going into a cove, doing a bead, doing whatever that next shape is called. You know, the slant cove going through the bead, you know, followed by a reverse cove going into a semi spear, back into a cove, into a bead, cove, bead. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And you put finish on it, now you got a function for it. Hell yeah, nothing wrong with that. And you
So-
even textured it.
Yeah, textured it. I did all
Yeah,
kinds
sure
of
did.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, like I say, that's
Right.
there was no purpose to it when you started it, other than it being your sketch pad. It was never
Right.
going to be a drawing. It was never going to be an art.
Right.
And I think that's
Yeah.
that's a great idea. There's bits of wood like that all over my workshop.
And
Yep.
I'm going to make
Not
another
quite
one
right.
of these for my other lathe. So
Yeah.
Now I'd like to see you duplicate that.
Yes.
Well, I probably could.
So if you duplicate that, you got to turn 3, then you pick the best 2 out of the 3. Ain't that right, Martin?
Daniel, have you ever listened to Mark Soleil?
Yep.
in years past, when he was up and going, he split 2x4s into 2x2s. And
Yep.
every morning he went out and turned coves and beads on a stick just like that
Yeah.
before he ever started turning.
Yep.
Yep. It's always good to
I
have
turn,
one.
I turn a
that's-
Blackwood
this-
finial.
Called
This-
it his warm up.
This is just
I-
pine, and I wanted
I
to
turn,
see how smooth a finish I could get, and that was my practice.
Hallelujah.
So
There you
I
go.
turn a Blackwood finial before I start, just to get my eye in.
Why on Blackwood?
Because Martin has some African Blackwood.
Yeah.
They're about 6 inches long by about a quarter of an inch square. And I buy them off him for about 4 for £1. So I have blocks of them on top of the lathe, and every time before I start turning, I'll turn one, because if you
Okay.
don't break it, you've got your eye in, and because they're that small, you've really got to
Yeah,
concentrate
right.
on turning them.
Right.
Okay.
And I find it a great start to my day. Because Blackwood, it can shatter very, very easily.
Oh yes. Yep.
Oh yeah.
So you've got to be very, you've really got to keep your eye on it, and you've really got to be very fine with your tooling on it. And if I create a finial, I can make a pot for it later. You know, but 9 times out of 10, I just have a load of finials on the side, and I have a load of squares of Blackwood, because
Yeah.
I will turn a finial of some sort before every time I start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't keep finials.
No, no. Right, guys, I am going to love and leave you and go to bed, I think.
All right.
All right.
Come on.
Night, Martin.
Good night, Martin.
Patrick, I didn't see you on. We were supposed to do a shop tour tonight.
Uh-oh.
Next week. I'm gonna put you on the damn.
We'll get it
so
next
don't
week.
forget. We'll do it next week. I forgot, and I didn't, and I didn't see you come in to jog my memory. So, but hey, great job on the shop from the pictures that I saw. It looks great, and like I said on the Facebook post, you're good. You haven't said anything about, hey, come buy my shit, or this is for sale. So you're good.
Okay, we'll get it next week.
All right, sounds good, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night,
Good night,
now.
guys.
Take
Good
care.
night, Martin. We'll talk to you later,
Good night.
buddy. Oh, and then I'll get that transfer done tomorrow too. I'll do it in the
Right on.
morning when I get up. So
See you later, guys.
good night.
Good night.
Say
night.
hi to the missus. Let's see who else left here. Joe, you still there? Joe Cheney. Dane calling Joe. Oh no. What happened to Joe?
Oh,
Oh no. Joe. Oh, look, Joe's not there anymore. And we're gonna stop recording.
Oops. I need a few edits in the end of that recording.
Nah, Dave's got it.
All the talk about Pepper Mills looking like dogs.